Hello, welcome back to Hoopsa. QPR of course made it 9 matches without a win in the Championship yesterday in the 2-1 home loss against Leicester City. They're now sitting 6 points adrift from safety, and more notably, Gareth Ainsworth was relieved of his duties as manager last night. I was at Leicester City for the match, so here are my thoughts on the game. So I watched the match a little bit differently yesterday. I had the privilege of sitting in a box through a family friend. Thank you so much to them for organising that. It was a brilliant day despite the result. I was also lucky enough to meet two heroes in the form of Sinclair Armstrong and of course Jude the Cat. I'm massively appreciative of Sinclair for taking time for a quick picture. So let's talk about the match itself. Leicester of course have made a record-breaking start to the season. They're 5 points clear of Ipswich in second at the top of the league. No one has started the Championship as strongly as Leicester have. They've won 12 and lost 1, and they won 1-0 against Sunderland in a tightly contested match on Tuesday night. Guardiola disciple Enzo Maresca has got Leicester playing free-flowing football with goals coming all over the pitch, and it's already very hard to imagine a situation where they do not get promoted this season, let alone win the league. QPR of course went into this match on the back of a 2-0 loss away at West Brom on Tuesday night. The notable turning point of that game being the quick succession of yellow cards that Jimmy Dunn decided to pick up in the second half. That of course left us very exposed for our biggest home test of the season, with no fit or available centre-backs for this match. That led Gareth Ainsworth to pick what I'd probably say is the weakest team that we fielded all season. Despite there not being an available centre-back, he picked 3 for this match, sticking with the 5-3-2 formation. So Cannon, Kukai and Field went in as our centre-backs. We then had Powell and Adoma as our wing-backs. Our midfield consisted of Jack Colback, Dazelle and Elias Chair, and for some reason Charlie Kelman joined Lyndon Dykes up front, with Sinclair himself being unavailable through injury. Now I've said it in previous videos, but yet again, the absence of Paul Smith I find pretty staggering. Chris Willett continued to be outcast, and as I say, I do really think this is one of the weakest lineups that we have picked this year. I thought going into the match that we were going to really struggle to attack through this. Now the first half was interesting because although Leicester commanded a lot of the ball, I strangely did feel that we were set up quite well. We were matching them man to man. A lot of the play was in their half and we were pressing well and pressuring them out of the ball. The biggest issue was the decisions that we were making as soon as we got the ball. I think the QPR players were so surprised when they did pick it up that they had no composure and didn't take time to gather their thoughts, bring the rest of the team into the game. So what that led to is Dykes and Kelman taking shots on the spot, wayward passes, ball being given away very quickly after gathering it. I really think we were quite wasteful in that first half against a Leicester side that were a little bit off of the boil, which sounds quite similar to the performance they put in against Sunderland on Tuesday night. The problem with that is the longer the game went on without threatening them, Leicester were able to play themselves into a rhythm. And after a quick spate of corners, Leicester managed to find the net, with Mavdidi's shot taking an unfortunate deflection off of Al Adoma and finding its way into the Rangers' net. Again, to my surprise, we didn't actually fall apart as we often do after going a goal down. We kept the pressure up, and that was rewarded 10 minutes later with an equaliser from Andre Dazelle. Adoma was hassling Leicester in the box and managed to reclaim the ball before crossing to Dykes. His header was saved on the line by Chowdhury, and the ball was scuppered out onto the edge of the box to a waiting Andre Dazelle, who rifled it into the bottom left corner. An excellent equaliser and something that, despite us not attacking very much, had kept us in the game going into half time. Now, unsurprisingly, Leicester became a lot more dominant in the second half, and it really was one-way traffic I felt from 45 minutes onwards. We were still in the game, but we were attacking even less than we had in the first half. On the 59th minute, Andre Dazelle made a rash challenge on Fatawi, who was bombing down the Rangers wing and about to cut in. Fatawi responded by pushing Dazelle, which clearly angered him a lot, and he pushed him even harder back. Now, this played out exactly in front of where I was watching, and the second he made the push, I knew that he was off. Obviously, he picked up a yellow card for the initial foul and then a second yellow for the push. That's QPR's second successive red card and the third of the season in just 14 games, which really sums up the lack of discipline in this squad. I must say that Fatawi did instigate the push-in by pushing Dazelle first after the challenge, but you cannot lose your head in a game like that, especially when, despite Leicester growing more and more into it, it was still 1-1 at this point. Really disappointing after Dunn's stupid red card on Tuesday as well. And if Leicester weren't dominant enough before this, against 10 men, it was purely one-way traffic. I did find with Leicester that this passing, possession-based football, at times I felt it just lacked the introduction of a decisive pass. a direct ball into the box or a shot. And I think QPR would have struggled with this a lot more, but they were able to keep their shape the more that Leicester played it around the box. And that proved to be true on the 80th minute when Harry Winks finally broke the deadlock with a long-range right-footed shot just outside the box and an excellent finish into the back of the QPR net. That was his first goal for the club and was enough to ensure that Leicester left with the 3 points. Now, there's been a bit of talk about how well we played and that for a long period of the game we managed to match the league leaders. I think that's been a little bit overhyped. The stats don't lie when you look at them. It was still 80% possession for Leicester away from home and 827 passes to QPR's 209. We still didn't attack enough. I don't think the 5-3-2 was quite the right formation. It did mean that our poor home form of just one win in a whole year has been extended even longer. And with 9 matches without a win in the league, the owners clearly had got to a point where they can no longer justify Ainsworth sticking around any longer than this. It does make it feel pretty accurate, people's theory that the stadium being named Betrayed Loftus Road, a sudden deal in the midweek to bring in a little bit of cash into the club, has enabled us the funds to sack Ainsworth and bring in a replacement, because the timing of that feels a little bit too coincidental. But if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that I've been calling for Ainsworth to go for a long time now, as a lot of QPR fans have. And if anything, I still feel it's probably a little bit late, but I'm glad the decision's been made. Of course, no one wanted to see Ainsworth fail, but this just really wasn't working out and it was only getting worse. So now it's on to who is going to be the next manager. And by all accounts in the press, it sounds like Neil Warnock is going to come back for a 3rd stint at the club on a deal until the end of the season. But I'm not 100% sure if he's actually been interviewed yet, and there is still talks of other managers potentially being candidates as well. Obviously the likes of John Eustace, Gary Rowett, Michael Beale, and now Nigel Pearson after his sacking today are all available. So it's going to be really interesting to see what QPR decide to do. I think in the situation we're in right now, which is a relegation battle, Warnock until the end of the season is the most sensible decision that we could make. You only have to look at what he did at Huddersfield last season, who looked doomed before he joined the club, to see that he still has what it takes to keep a club up in this league. I'd be a strong advocate for that, and then picking a more long-term appointment in the summer once we know where we are. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more, please do subscribe. It really helps me out. See you next time. Cheers.